We're live. Great. All right. Well, if you're already on joining us, Coach Sandi here with Coach Sharon. And yeah, we're a little early, so we're just going to give folks a chance to get on with us before we officially kick this off. But if you are with us, and I don't quite see anyone yet, let's see. I don't see anyone yet, Sharon.
I see 2 people have joined.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, you're ahead of me a minute by a couple seconds. Great. Well, as people are coming on, please let us know you're here. Tell us where you're from. Just put some information in the comments so that we know who's joining us. Hey, Kate's already with us.
Yep.
Awesome. Donna from Kentucky.
I see Mary Jo. Shane is here. Dana.
Great. People are rolling in on time. Wow.
Hey.
All right. I think I'll give it a few more seconds because we are just approaching the top of the hour.
Yep. Jennifer from Washington.
Great.
Susan.
Nice.
Everyone's rolling in. Welcome, everyone.
Hello, hello. All right. Susan H. And there's Shane. Yep. Great. All righty. Well, we are going to get our group going, our Thursday night support group. So glad everybody's here. Welcome. So you are joining Coach Sharon as well as myself, Sandi. And tonight we are here to talk about a topic that hits so close to home for so many of us. And I'm throwing myself in there too. And that is, we're going to be talking about the very real barriers and obstacles we face for getting in exercise each day. And we've got a lot of things to unpack. We're going to try to hit on the most common barriers. In fact, we took a poll in our group to just kind of get a sense of where people are at with, what they're up against with PA and getting it in. And so we're going to be taking that information and just, walking alongside you, giving you some strategies and tips to help you out. And we ask that as we go along here, that you please post your specific limitations. If you have some, maybe you have questions you want to ask about getting in PA, or maybe you have strategies you've used that have helped you with the specific challenges that we're going to address today. So let's just take a look here. We got a few more people. We've got Cherise, Cheryl. Hey, Bob. Bob's
Carol.
Always here. Like clockwork, Bob. Excellent. Well, before we go on much further, want to just kind of take a step back and get into a little bit of the accountability spotlight. We want to do a bit of follow-up from last week's Facebook Live. Many of you were on that event watching along with me. Kate and Jen C were bringing us some great seasonal recipes. I don't know about you guys if you were watching, but my mouth was totally watering looking at all the pumpkin creations, the cinnamon that you can add to a multitude of things, and all the seasonal vegetables that go so well with our HMR foods. And so if you tried something either from last week's event or maybe something you tried on your own, we want to hear about it. Put it in the comments. Something you did, a seasonal fall recipe this past week. We'd love to hear it. Comment now. And I don't know about you, Sharon, but I'm a big squash eater. Love squash. Perfect time of year, right? Perfect time of year for that. I took something, and it wasn't from the Facebook Live, but it was from the group. We have a member, Alice, who posted, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, a butternut squash soup recipe. And I did a little screenshot of it and took that screenshot with me when I went grocery shopping, got all my ingredients, butternut squash, apple, onion, garlic, and it also called for ground ginger and cinnamon and bay leaf, but made a nice soup out of that. It was so good, made a huge amount, went really well with the chicken, the whole grain, whole grain medley chicken. Thank you. Won't come out. Anyway, it was so good, but I'm hoping others are are also sharing what you tried this past week with seasonal recipes. Let's see if we're
Yeah, we've got
seeing.
Susan. She's on the squash train as well. She said last week I tried acorn squash and spaghetti squash. I loved the acorn squash especially. I actually have not had acorn squash in so long. I feel like sorry for the background noise. I feel like I was intimidated with how to cook it. But I recently tried spaghetti squash and it was
Ooh,
so good. I just used it as a replacement for spaghetti. I think I put shrimp on top of it and some sauce. It was really good. It's
yeah.
delicious.
Super simple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so easy to make it. You just cut it in half face down on a cookie sheet. You can season it and, bake that in the oven until it gets soft. You can just shred it with a fork. And
Yep.
you're right, it can replace pasta.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep. Actually, we have a couple more. Dana said she did diced butternut squash and diced apples in the air fryer, then
Ooh.
mixed it into the mushroom risotto with a little bit of maple syrup. That sounds really good.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
everyone is bringing in all of the fall recipes. Donna did cauliflower soup. Um, Shane made homemade vegetable soup for the first time. Had enough for 3 meals. That's awesome. Had an entree or added an entree. That sounds great.
Mm.
Give a thumbs up to this video if you are loving the fall recipes. If you're loving the squash and the apples and the pumpkin, give us a thumbs up. I certainly love this time of year, so keep these recipes coming.
Same. Love it. All right. Yeah, definitely keep commenting with those. And something to mention, all of the recipes that Kate and Jen shared last week are right there in the comments of the event. So if you missed it, you can watch it or just scroll down through the comments to find some great recipes there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Awesome.
Jennifer Maples is just joining us as well. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. Yay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
should we dive into our topic for tonight? Physical
Yes.
activity? Okay,
Let's
cool.
do it.
For those of you who are just joining us, we are talking all about physical activity and all of the barriers and challenges that come along with it that I'm sure we're all familiar with. As Sandy mentioned, we did a poll on our Facebook page or our Facebook group to see what people felt like were the biggest challenges around physical activity and keeping up with your routine. So the one that had the most votes, the most popular challenge was lack of motivation. I can relate. Sandy, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you've been there before.
Yes.
Yes, it's a tough one. So we're going to save that one for last. So be sure to stay tuned. We've got lots to talk about with motivation. And then going down from there, we had physical limitations, lack of time, weather conditions, and then not working out in a gym. So I'm sure one of those, if not all of those, we can relate to. I can relate to all of them. So we're going to go through each one and just share some tips. And as we do, we'd love for you guys to comment. You guys are truly the experts here. A lot of you have established some really great physical activity routines. So please comment and share what you do given these challenges. So, first one that we're going to talk about is physical limitations. So, this could be anywhere from having an injury or just having some type of an ailment where you can't do typical exercise. It could be temporary and it could be lifelong, where, these are different things that people deal with all the time. So the first thing that I would say with this, it really depends on what the limitation is. But the first thing you want to do is think about what you can do. It's
Mm-hmm.
really easy to get hung up on, well, I can't walk and I used to walk, or I can't go to the gym and I used to go to the gym. So we really do have to get creative and think about what you are able to do with those physical limitations. So let's say, you can't walk. You have an injury in your lower body, or something is stopping you from being able to walk. What if you try to do some sitting upper body chair exercises? I've actually heard a lot of people. I used to have clients who did that before. There was YouTube videos of just upper body exercises. You could sit in a chair so you're very stable and comfortable, and you could use weights, resistance bands, weights around the house like soup cans or water bottles, and you can do different upper body exercises. So that's one. Or if walking, running, that's not an option for you, maybe swimming is
Mm-hmm.
more conducive, or using a bike or a stationary bike. So we have to really think about different ways we can get creative and find something that you enjoy and that you can do comfortably. Another thing is high intensity. I think people feel like they have to always be sweating and huffing and puffing and really exhausting themselves. And although, there's certainly some benefits to doing high intensity exercises, there are many benefits to just doing yoga and
Mm-hmm.
stretching and walking and nothing, it doesn't have to be so strenuous all the time. So hopefully some of those things were helpful. And then lastly, I would say about this, and Sandy, I'll let you chime in and if see if anyone else has mentioned any comments as well. But you may even want to look for some assistance. So maybe getting walking poles or trekking poles might be helpful if you're going out walking, or maybe really supportive shoes or insoles for your shoes. You just kind of have to get creative and figure out what you can do. I have feel strongly that there is something out there for you that you would be able to try to do depending on your situation.
Right,
Yep.
right. So well said. It's the looking for those opportunities to do what you, as you said, Sharon, can do. Bob is chiming in, saying he does most of his exercise in a wheelchair
Yep.
because of arthritis in his ankle and a bad injury. Um, and talking about using weights. Let's see some humorous answers about challenges. Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, in response to um, probably a legitimate concern about being attacked by a bear while exercising outside. But
That doesn't
um,
sound fun.
no, Jennifer recommends YouTube. Caroline Jordan on YouTube specifically, great for variety of chair cardio, yoga, and stretching videos. Um, so keep those ideas coming for those physical limitation strategies and ideas. But one point I did want to make, Sharon, I want to really encourage everybody, even if HMR has this threshold we try to have you get to 2,000 calories burned each week, but for those with physical limitations, either temporary or ongoing limitations, the effort that you put out to get what you get, whether it's 500, 600, 1,000 calories in a week burned, is often equivalent to an able bodied person putting in the effort to get in 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000. So we don't want to dismiss or, you know, uh, we don't want to make you don't want to feel like if you don't get to the 2000 it's not worth trying. So every effort is worth it. So I just want to encourage everybody with that.
Definitely. And I just want to chime in with some of the comments we're getting. Sherry mentioned, I can't do much now. She was supposed to have both knees replaced in May and now has to wait till it's safe out there. But in the meantime, the one thing I can do is some chair dancing classes a friend of mine runs. It's great fun and a good
Fun.
workout. It looks like she actually posted the link there. So
That
that's
sounds
awesome.
fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
And she also mentioned something is better than nothing. Hard lesson
that's
to
right.
learn or accept. Yep. Something
That's
is
right.
always better than nothing.
And
Totally agree.
if your limitations are temporary, we definitely want to keep the practice of every day doing something in place. And then when you're able to do more or to do those weight bearing exercises, you don't have to start from square one. You've already got some routines in place.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then just one other before we move on to the next obstacle. Jennifer said I use my seated walker. It helps me feel more comfortable with going on longer walks, since I can sit down if needed without having to find a bench or something else. So yeah, that's a great idea.
Great. All right. So for our folks with limitations, if you have a takeaway from all those ideas, make sure you jot it down as something to try this week. We're going to ask at the end of the call what you are taking away, put you under the accountability spotlight. So be sure to be listening for something. Anything else on that topic, or shall we move on, Sharon?
Yeah, I think we can move on to inclement weather.
All right. All right. I'll take that.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, inclement weather. So, we're talking about not only bad weather or weather that has us wanting to stay inside, but also here in California, and I know Washington, Oregon, there's other states, Colorado, affected by just poor air quality due to
Mhm.
fires and
Yep.
other things that are going on. And so that's, can tend to keep us inside or keep us away from our typical routines. So if you typically exercise outside, but you're, hampered by the weather or air quality, it it's good to have some plan Bs, get creative with your indoor space. And I know we've in the past at HMR, encouraged folks to do mall walking or walking in stores, but with
Mhm.
COVID, not always a great idea. But if that's a possibility, certainly to get out into an open indoor space to do some walking might be conducive. Um, but there's also the idea of looking around your home for where you can walk around. The other day, I have two rooms upstairs, and my office is one of them, and then there's a bedroom. And I was doing laps between the office, hallway, and bedroom, round and round. I ended up getting a quarter mile during a meeting with my headphones on, just and I'd never done that. So it was just something that occurred to me as Sharon and I were kind of putting this together and really thinking outside of our normal routines. That's just one example that I came up with for indoor PA on my in my last week. But if you have stairs, going up and down the stairs, and a lot of us have the app that tracks the number of floors we do and how many calories we're burning. Most iPhones have that app built in. You might look for that, the health app, so you can actually track how many floors you're getting in.
Yep.
Um, Even walking in place, you don't even have to have a lot of space. You can just, march in place, or, lift your heels behind you. I'm doing it right now. Marching. You can do that while you watch television, while you're watching a movie or listening to music, talking on the phone. You can pace. Of course, we have videos. We all know there's videos, apps we can access. There's just so much on YouTube, and just various apps you can download for indoor workouts. A lot of them
Mhm.
you don't even need any equipment. It's just you and your space. But I am curious what our viewers are using for indoor workouts. What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I'm seeing some comments actually. Sherry said, put on some great dance music and
Mm-hmm.
bounce on a fit ball. Instant party. I love
Love it.
that.
That's great. Yeah.
Shane said, went walking during HMR Zoom meeting last night, got in 45 minutes. Um, Bob said, the air quality in my area has been bad. I'm going to the mall now and rolling around.
Nice.
That's great. And a couple of people mentioned about other limitations. Sherry said, I thought just about poles. We were talking about the walking poles,
Right.
since my knees make my gait unsteady. So that's a great thing to add in.
You know,
Awesome.
the mall idea, if, some malls that are not open, well, it depends on what state you're in, but stores like Home Depot, I'm thinking the big box stores, Costco.
Mm-hmm.
One of my strategies, and this is again indoor PA idea, really, if your gym's closed, I know we're going to get there, but if your gym is closed and you're just looking for a way to get out of the house and have some different scenery, sometimes if I'm going to a big store like that, I'll walk around the indoor perimeter of the store first before I begin my shopping, do a couple laps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a great way to get out of the bad weather. So,
It sure is. I want to mention too, in terms of space and finding indoor space to work out. If anyone knows about small spaces, I'm definitely a top contender. I live in a 500 square foot apartment. This is my kitchen, also my office, also my boyfriend's office. I've got suitcases on top of the fridge. Like we are just crammed for space. And when the whole pandemic began and gyms were closed, I was like, what am I going to do? Aside from, when I can go outside and go for runs and everything, I found just a small area in our tiny little hallway where I could put a yoga mat. And I did workouts from a workout app that I have used in the past. And it's totally doable. I just have resistance bands. I don't have a lot of space, but enough where I can still get, a little workout in. So I think you just have to
right.
be creative and find those little spaces in your house.
Boy, if this pandemic has forced us to be anything, it's flexible.
Yes. Flexible and
Right?
creative.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure. For sure.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
All
Couple of
right.
Couple of comments. I know Dana mentioned she got a recumbent stationary bike.
Mhm.
And even if you don't have a stationary bike, if you have a regular road bike, you can buy one of those stands that you connect your back wheel to and ride your bike in place indoors. Just an idea, and they're pretty reasonably priced
Mhm.
usually. Any other? Leslie Sansone, yeah, Margaret. That's a great indoor walking video idea. She's so fun. She's got music playing. She's talking to you the whole time. You're walking with other people, and you can take on 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour.
That's really cool.
It's really up to you. I
Mhm.
did. I did want to mention though, in regards to inclement weather, I love this quote. There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing choices.
That's so
So
true.
bad weather doesn't not necessarily mean you have to stay indoors. Maybe it's throwing on a raincoat, grabbing an umbrella, and putting on some waterproof shoes.
Yep. Oh,
So
totally. I'm going to add to that before I'm not going to go off on too much of a tangent because we'll move on. But when I lived in Boston, I live in California now, so I don't have to deal with as much inclement weather. But when I lived in Boston, I lived there during the year where they had a record snow. It was 108 inches for the whole year. It was crazy. It was like
oh my
every weekend was
gosh.
a blizzard. And I still suited up. I put on my snowboard gear, my hat, my gloves, my boots, everything, and I walked to and from work. And it was fine, you just
Wow.
bundle up.
Right?
You just have to
Yeah.
dress properly and you can do it.
And if you can do that to get to work, you can do that to get a walk-in,
Exactly.
just on your own.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's kind of a
Totally.
shift in the mindset. I remember doing a run
Hmm.
in 4 below temperatures, also near Boston, and
Hmm.
I must add 4 layers on of clothing, and it was doable. Not
It's
comfortable, but doable.
It's doable though,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. My name is Coach Sharon D, and we've got Coach Sandy here as well. And we're
Fine.
talking all about physical activity, how to establish routine when you have certain limitations, such as physical limitations, inclement weather, lack of time, lack of motivation. So we're going to move on now to lack of time. We already talked about physical limitations. We talked about inclement weather. Sandy, did you want to kick us off for lack of
Yeah.
time?
I actually thought this would be number one in our poll for most votes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually third. 33 votes for lack of time to exercise. It is something we all deal with at some point, or at least some days in the week. We have very busy lives, just trying to figure out, managing our family life, our work life, our other time that we have to, within the hours of the day, getting in good sleep. And so figuring out when to squeeze in PA can be challenging. Give me a like if you can relate to this at some point in your yeah, thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and like us there on our comments, if you can relate to just trying to figure out when to fit PA in, and even feeling like there aren't enough hours in the day for PA. Um, so I want to just have us consider a few things that may help with this. We're not going to get more than 24 hours in a day. So looking for those opportunities, even for some short bouts, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, one or more times in a day is better than 0 minutes. In fact, that's a strategy a lot of people work with, is to go for a week of no 0 days. Even if it's 5 minutes, it's something. And it reinforces that commitment to figure it out and to just have the routine of doing something every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, you're real good at scheduling. So that was something I also wanted to mention. Schedule your PA into your calendar. Make it an appointment with yourself. And I know you use a planner, a book. I tend to use actually my wall calendar. If I've got a very specific thing I want to do with PA and I'm afraid it's going to fall out, I'll just write it in my calendar. Some people will just put it in their phone. We've got calendars on our phones. And it may look different for weekdays versus weekends. If you've got, structured weekdays that are maybe, you've got to get PA in before, during, or after work. It's something to consider. But weekends, or even days off, maybe here's another strategy. Maybe those are times to take advantage of higher PA days, getting in more bouts or longer bouts. Mm-hmm. So thinking about your downtime. Got a couple more here, and be sure to, contribute yours in the comments as we're going along here, and we'll look for them. Squeezing PA in throughout the day, walking during meetings, squats while brushing your teeth, walking the indoor perimeter of a building before shopping. I mentioned that. Or even walking while you're waiting. Let's say you're getting your car repaired, or you've got a child who's involved in an activity. I know I used to do that when my daughter was taking ballet lessons. I knew she was going to be in there for at least an hour and a half. Rather than sit, I got out and I explored the neighborhood around the ballet studio. So looking for those opportunities to just make it a part of what you're already doing. Maybe lunchtime PA during your workday could be an option. And then I'll just also mention, do it first thing. Do it if you've got a packed schedule and you do it first thing, then you can't keep pushing it off like we all can tend to do. If it's done, it's done. And if you get opportunities to do more, great. That's just even, the icing on the cake. So what else can we do when we have busy schedules? Let's see if Laura, what do you see there, Sharon?
Yeah, we have a bunch of comments that I want to check in on. But also I saw a bunch of people giving those thumbs up when you mentioned just lack of time, like, nice. An issue for you. So, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up if lack of time or, busy schedules, gets in the way of doing exercise. We can all relate. We're all in this together. So a couple of comments that I saw come through. Donna said, to deal with time issues, I divided my 30-minute sessions into 3 10-minute sessions that were easier to squeeze in. So that's great, breaking it up into different bouts. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Kate said, I start early. I like to have some me time before my family wakes up. Totally agree. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Any other comments that you're seeing about time?
10-minute, Lori says, I take a 10-minute walk around my property each day. It's not overwhelming and it's manageable. Mm-hmm.
Susan mentioned something as well. This is a good one. My top tip for fitting in the time: running shoes can go with you anywhere. Today I put them on in the parking lot at work at 4 p.m. and ran for half hour before going to pick up my kids from after school program. That's a great tip. I'll just add to that, always have your running shoes with you. I used to tell myself when I get home from work, I'll go out and exercise, but that didn't always happen. So having them there with you, put them on right away. You can just go out, exercise right away.
Right.
Yep.
Maybe it's something to plan the night before, if you're thinking about, gosh, each day just gets away from me. And I find that I haven't done as much PA as I wanted to, or any PA. Maybe even just taking a minute, the night before, to just say, okay, I know what I've got going on tomorrow. Here's what I'm going to do, and just plan it out. Be ready. Maybe you need to lay your clothes out, have your shoes ready, have your equipment ready, making perhaps a plan with someone else to make sure that you've, got some accountability around it. Dana says, I work at 9 a.m. with a 10-minute commute, but I get up at 4:30 to make sure all my PA is done by 7:30, along with coffee. Let's see what else. Could sleep until 7:30, but I choose health. Love it.
I love that.
That's great. Good job.
Awesome. Keep commenting. Let us know. Mm-hmm. This is definitely a common obstacle with time. We all have busy schedules. We have to really prioritize. Sometimes physical activity gets pushed to the back burner, so we have to figure out how to squeeze it in. So keep commenting and let us know what your strategies are.
Yep.
All right. So drum roll. We've got the last and most popular obstacle for physical activity: lack of motivation. I mean, we should have guessed that this would have been the most popular one. It's so easy to just not feel motivated, whether it's a gloomy day outside, or you're just tired, or you have other stuff to do, that can all lead to lack of motivation. But you added something in here, Sandy, and this is so true. Action precedes motivation. We can't expect to just wake up feeling motivated and wake up feeling like we want to get out there and go. We have to actually do something to kind of spark that fire, or get that motivation going. It's not the other way around. We have to do something in order to feel motivated. So how do we get in action around our physical activity is the biggest thing that we want to talk about. So before we kind of dive into that, I want to invite you guys all to comment. Let us know how you stay motivated, how you stay in action to keep your motivation up. And again, hit that like, hit that thumbs up, so we know that you are here with us, and that this is something that you might deal with, lack of motivation. If this is something that's a struggle for you, like all of us, hit that like button. Okay, so a couple of tips before we see what the comments are. Just do something. A lot of you have mentioned something is always better than nothing. Just getting out there and just saying, okay, I don't feel so motivated to do my typical, whatever it is, 45-minute workout. So I'm going to just go for a 10-minute walk. I tell myself this all the time. I'm like, I don't feel like going for a run, so I'm just going to do a quick walk, because that I'm willing to do. Chances are, once I get out there and I get that action going, I end up pushing myself a little bit more. But even if I don't, I still did 10 minutes, and that was better than nothing. So that's giving yourself that 10-minute rule of just doing something is a great way to get action started to get you motivated. Establishing a routine as well, starting somewhere, starting small, and just scheduling it in, all those different tips that we've already given you. Having a routine can make it automatic and make it something that you're already doing, you're not thinking about, and you're not waiting for that motivation. You're just getting out there and doing it. A couple other tips that are similar to some of the other obstacles that we talked about: start early in the morning when maybe you're most motivated. You're less likely to think about all the things you can do instead of working out. You get it in, and then you can just move on with your day and do whatever else you need to do. Sandy, you mentioned join a group. That was something that you had talked about. You joined a group to motivate you to walk 50 miles in 1 month, which is great because you have that accountability. Accountability helps you get motivated. And then making it fun. For me, I look forward to my walks and my runs because I'll listen to an audiobook or a podcast or my favorite music. That's what really gets me up. I'll look at my podcast for the day and see what came out, and I get really excited. I'm like, oh, I really want to listen to that.
Right.
And I only do it when I'm on walks. So that really works for me. And then lastly, I'll say, tell someone your plan for extra accountability. That way, it just gets you into that action. You told someone you were going to do it, so you have to actually do it.
Right.
So let's see, any comments that you're seeing, Sandy?
Yeah. And remind me to tell you about something I did yesterday that was falls under make it fun. So I saw that what motivates Donna, she finds it easier to stay in the box if she is getting in her PA, which is very motivating. I mean, if your goal is to be in the box and PA helps you. Bob says, I'd rather exercise than take insulin. That is a motivator. Your health, absolutely. Susan is agreeing with you, Sharon. Just do it, and soon you'll be on a roll with it, and you'll be motivated by your results to keep it up. Sherry's mentioning her main way to stay motivated is to do things that she really enjoys, that don't really feel like exercise. Bike riding, swimming, those dance videos, I'm sure, chair dancing. Have a buddy who helps you to be more accountable. Just some great tips here. Susan L mentioned scheduling time to meet up with someone else has always helped her. I know that I've done that before, and you don't want to stand up your friend. So it's like being proactive, making that plan, and that just kind of gets you in action with, having a buddy to be in it with.
Yep. Totally. So, having a dog helps too, because you're forced to get out and go for walks. I have no choice.
Right.
It motivates me.
Yeah. So I have to tell you, last night I was planning on, I was having a bad case of the I don't want to's. I was planning a walk after work, and I was kind of like dragging my feet, and my husband said, "Oh, the debate's on tonight," and I thought, "Oh, yay! I don't have to do my walk because we were going to walk watch that debate." And I thought, "No, I'm not going to let myself off the hook that easy." So I texted a coworker and I said, "How about a debate challenge while we watch the debate? Anytime this word is said or that word is said, the word healthcare or COVID, or, you have to do 5 push-ups or 5 squats or 5 jumping jacks." So we did a kind of like a drinking game, only it was an exercise game with the debate. And so we were cheering each other on through text. That made it fun, motivating, and it just had me kind of think outside my normal routine to get it in.
So fun. I love that.
It was so fun.
Okay, so I'm seeing a couple more comments. Kate said, "I don't feel motivated before my workout." You're not alone, Kate.
Yeah.
My Peloton app or my group instructors motivate me. I love having coaches. Yeah, yes. I remember when I used to take classes, it's just a motivator. You don't have to think about it. You've got someone pushing you along the way.
So true. So true.
Great.
Wow. Well, keep them coming, guys. There's, like Sharon said when we first started, you guys are the experts. You guys are figuring it out. So what are you doing? But if you're also struggling, put that out there as well. Our team will still be looking at the comments later and just seeing how we can help you and support you. But I hope you've all heard something, that you can take and run with this week. And I would love to have you, again, give us a thumbs up and let us know if any of this has been helpful to you this evening. All right. So, Sharon, we got to take it to the next level, right?
Of course, always.
Always. So we want to put folks under the accountability spotlight for the week. And so what is your next step with PA? Maybe something you heard, or maybe something that was said in this event has sparked something in your mind thinking, oh yeah, I can do XYZ with PA. So, we have our accountability spotlight to support you to pull off your goals and your plans. So I invite everyone to comment now with your PA next step, and we'll follow up with you next Thursday during our live event. And I know we're doing this live right now, but if people are watching this after the fact, continue to comment as well with something you plan to do this week with PA. And, we'll be looking at those comments before our next live event so we can just kind of check back in and see how it went. Yeah.
Yep. So keep hitting that button,
yeah.
Keep commenting. I haven't seen any comments just yet. Sorry, go ahead, Sandi.
Okay. No, I was gonna mention something else while we give people a chance to just, say what they're gonna take on this week. We always talk about getting back to the why of why you're doing the program, but let's get us back to the why of why we exercise, and specifically during this time of the pandemic. I don't know if those of you who are in our group were able to catch Coach Sharon Z's video today, or was it yesterday? She posted it. But she was talking about the American College of Sports Medicine putting out a statement about the value of physical activity during this pandemic. And just to remind everybody why it's important, especially now. So PA has the potential to improve your immune and inflammation responses to viral infections, to reduce psychological and physiological stress from the pandemic. I don't know about you. I just have this heightened level of stress right now. I know a lot of people do, and that PA really just helps as a stress reliever. Also, PA has the potential to help treat most of the pre-existing chronic conditions that predict COVID-19 deaths, as well as enhance the effectiveness of an eventual vaccine. So it's always been important for good health, to be active, to get in your exercise. But these days, it's even more important. There's more at stake. All right. So are we seeing any comments?
Yes, we are. Okay, so we've got Andrew who said to not make excuses, to make it as much of a daily routine as water.
Ooh.
Uh, Sherry said, I'm going to explore the idea of poles for walking. That's a great idea.
Mhm.
Susan says, I'm just going to keep making sure I prioritize squeezing it in every day. And Shane said, 2,500 PA this coming week will be my goal. Shane's going above and beyond the 2,000. You guys are all setting these great goals to
Yeah.
make sure you make it a priority. So keep commenting. Let
Yep.
us know how you're going to take away from our discussion and how you're going to set a goal for yourself around exercise for the week.
Perfect. All right. Well, I guess we should wrap it up, Sharon. So, I hope you guys have gotten something that was beneficial to you during this time, and just realize we're all in the same boat. We have our challenges when it comes to getting NPA in some form or fashion, whether it's lack of time, motivation, physical limitations, or weather conditions, no access to a gym, those sorts of things. But the goal is to get in action, to be in action, even if it's something short and quick. So get into that problem solving mode and ask yourself, what will I do today to get MPA? All right. Well, thank you for joining Sharon and I. Have a great active week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a good
Bye
night.
bye.